Barbie and Oppenheimer. Two major studio features both releasing this week, and somehow this has created an internet storm of jokes and free marketing. Aside from the objectively hilarious memes we all keep seeing, the Barbie and Oppenheimer shared July 21st release date is actually a fascinating film industry phenomenon that I would like to get to the bottom of. So, while you're planning your double feature, buying pink shirts and black pants, let's try and contextualize why this has happened and why it's more important than most people think. I went through all summer releases in the past 5 years, excluding 2020 for obvious reasons, and here are some fun stats for general context. There have been 55 major North American studio summer releases in the last 5 summers. There were 10 releases in 2018, 14 in 2019, 9 in 2021, 10 in 2022, and 12 in 2023. Out of all 55 releases, 20 were Disney, 11 were Warner, 10 were Universal, 7 were Paramount, 4 were Sony, 2 were Fox, and 1 was Lionsgate. Out of all 55 releases, 52 have had opening weekends as of writing this essay. Out of those 52, 32 were successful at the box office and 20 were box office flops. A lot of those flops did still make a lot of money, but from a studio perspective, they didn't make enough money. Here is the most interesting statistic, and the one that matters most to us. I looked at all films released inside the May-August window, and there have been only 3 instances when 2 movies have released on the same opening weekend in the last 5 summers. Interestingly, those releases were actually 2 back-to-back weekends. Godzilla and Rocketman both premiered on May 31st, 2019, and then right after Secret Life of Pets and X-Men Dark Phoenix both premiered on June 7th. The third overlap is Barbie and Oppenheimer, but I'll get to that. Point is, each of the remaining 49 films had its own opening weekend. The reason for that is just what you might think it is. Every studio wants no competition in their film's opening weekend. Film release dates are usually sorted on a first-come, first-served basis. So if Disney schedules something on July 4th, for example, that date is more or less taken, and so Universal, for example, needs to schedule their July release on a different date. Both studios benefit from this, as each has their own opening weekend. Summer is also generally more profitable. Moviegoers tend to go out more, so they are more prone to visit the cinema, and kids are out of school. They also want to see some movies, which is especially important for a lot of family features. It's industry standard to hold only one major release a weekend. And this is quite complicated actually. There are hundreds of things that come into play when scheduling a release, so pushing back a week, for example, is not at all as simple as it sounds. Plus, one never knows what studios are thinking exactly or what their overall strategy is. But generally speaking, and for the purposes of our analysis here, none of the majors want to share an opening weekend. It would just almost always make both parties lose money. The following is all speculative. I do not work in these studios and there has not been any public information, but this is my guess on how the scheduling timeline probably went down. Oppenheimer comes first. Universal schedules Oppenheimer on July 21st for a few reasons, but the main thing we should keep in mind is Nolan's 100-day exclusive theatrical window. This means that Universal can't hold a major release in theaters for 100 days after Oppenheimer opens. Universal had a release on the 19th of May, Fast X, a major blockbuster which they wouldn't push after Oppenheimer because of the 100-day exclusive period. So Oppenheimer comes after that. There are a number of Disney releases scheduled for the rest of May, like Little Mermaid and Indiana Jones, so Oppenheimer comes after those two because Universal wouldn't want to share a weekend with Disney. Oppenheimer wants to have as early summer release as possible as to draw as many people as possible in its 100-day theatrical window, and that next date available is July 21st, so Oppenheimer gets scheduled then. Barbie has a similar plan. Warner wants the film to be in cinemas for as long as it can during summer. The big question is why Warner scheduled Barbie on July 21st also and not in, say, early August. That I do not know. Probably some very smart people who do this for a living advised Warner that a July opening weekend, even such shared with Oppenheimer, would still make the film more money than delaying the release to August. Probably Warner banked that demographics for the two films are different, which stylistically they are, but Barbie is directed by Greta Gerwig, who is an awards darling, so the film has appealed to a lot of the similar crowd that loves Nolan. It is odd that Warner decided to schedule Barbie on the same day as Oppenheimer. Different crowds, yes, and a more profitable theatrical window, but the competition is Christopher Nolan. So it's risky, but it just might work. Their marketing campaign has been insane, so there are little doubts Barbie won't make any money, but you never know. Some people have speculated that Warner had Barbie release on the same day as Oppenheimer to stick it to Nolan, as he recently ended his relationship with that studio, but we need to put those speculations to rest. Studios release movies to make a lot of money, not for revenge. I've seen a few video essays on why Oppenheimer specifically is a really important film that will get a lot of people back into theater seats. This is true. Oppenheimer is by an acclaimed director, aimed at awards, it's grand, looks amazing, it's shot on IMAX 70mm, has a starry cast, it fits all the boxes, and is bound to make a lot of money. However, Barbie releasing on the same day creates an even more interesting scenario. Barbie is also a major studio release, also by an acclaimed director, also looks amazing, also has a starry cast, and is more of a family film, which usually guarantees it a lot of commercial success and box office dollars. Usually, I'd say these two films would hurt each other's opening weekend gross. Yes, they might be stylistically different, but Greta Gerwig and Christopher Nolan do appeal to a lot of the same crowd, believe it or not. So generally speaking, I don't think it's smart they both release on the same weekend, personally. But then, the internet comes into play. I'm sure you've seen the countless memes around the now official Barbenheimer event. For some odd reason, people started making jokes about how a double feature of Barbie and Oppenheimer would be fun, it caught speed, and here we are, making essays on the topic. As I mentioned, a lot of people have spoken of each film's individual value to cinema, as they are both bound to get a lot of people into theaters, and again, this is true, but it's not something only Barbie or Oppenheimer could do. Top Gun Maverick already brought people back to cinemas post-COVID. So did Spider-Man No Way Home. So did Avatar The Way of Water. The average moviegoer is still going to the movies. Maybe not as much, and maybe we've had some bumps along the way, but we've had a few big releases do really well, and it's not like the industry is waiting for Gerwig or Nolan to save it. However, a double feature has unique impact, not because of the films themselves, but because of the social and cultural aspect of what it means to go to the cinema and see two movies back to back. Films are activities in the worst case, and experiences in the best case. A Friday night movie is something people look forward to and plan their week around. It's something you do with friends or your loved ones or both. It's something you organize and you talk about. But it's only Friday night. The combined runtime of Barbie and Oppenheimer is 5 hours. With breaks, getting to the cinema, going home, grabbing a bite, etc., a double feature is definitely a half-a-day commitment, realistically a full-day commitment. This is why Barbenheimer matters. Moviegoers will spend a full day at the cinema, and the experience becomes an event. Culturally, this is incredibly important, as it brings back the value of movies and transports us to a different time when a movie release would be something that holds a great deal of weight and wouldn't be just another content fix. Socially, this is also incredibly important, as moviegoers talk about the event, are excited about the event, and most importantly, spend the whole day at the cinema. A lot of people see movies if they have the time. But if you're planning a double feature, you make the time. Friends have asked me if I'm around July 21st, and I've said a few times, no, that's Barbie and Oppenheimer Day. I've also had so many conversations with people about when they're doing their own double feature, what they're seeing first, even what they're wearing. People are excited for this. Not even so much because of the movies, but because of the concept itself that this is a double feature. People are excited to spend the whole day at the theater and make going to the movies an event again. So, get your double feature planned. Grab a black coffee and a pink cocktail, or a pink cocktail and a black coffee, depending on which order you've decided to go with, and have fun. Dress accordingly, even. Talk about it. Share the experience with your loved ones and get yourself excited to go to the movies. It's magical. And as random as this Barbenheimer event is, it just might show you the magic.